We will be discussing today everything related to the COVID second wave do's and don'ts and about vaccinations. So I know a lot of questions you people have related to the second wave, which has affected the entire country. So whatever the questions you have, you please put down in the Q&A section and um, chat box. So all your questions will be answered during this session. So today we have as a speaker to conduct this session, Dr. Sumana Y. She is a consultant in the Department of Wellness at BGS Gleneagles Global Hospital, Hungary, Bengaluru. She has done her MBBS and MD in community medicine. So Dr. Sumana, prior to joining BGS Gleneagles Hospital, she has worked with Biocon Foundation. She has also presented a paper on cost effectiveness analysis of infertility intervention in IAPSM. She also presented a lot many other papers in the conferences, and she won the prestigious Sri H.M. Patel Young Scientist Award for the best scientific paper. So over to you, Dr. Sumana.
Thank you for the introduction. So before we move on to the questions, I would like to tell you the precautionary measures for the COVID-19 infection and what to do if you have symptoms, when to come to the doctor, and I would like to give a brief about the vaccines as well. So now this has been going on for more than a year now. All of us know about the COVID-19. Last year also we've had lockdown. This year also there's the second wave. So by now, most of us know so much about the infection and what are the things to do. But as a precautionary measure, the basic things remain the same as for the first wave of infection. See, in order to prevent the infection, we need to follow the use of a mask, hand hygiene, and distancing. These are the three basic things which are the preventive measures, okay? So that we do not get the infection. Second thing is, in case we have used the best precautionary measures and still we tend to get infection, one thing is please do not panic. The first thing is do not delay. If you have any symptoms, do not delay to get yourself tested. The second thing is once you have got tested, do not decide the medicines and the investigations all by yourself. No matter what the age group is, please consult the doctor. Okay, in case of children are infected, consult a pediatrician. In case of adults, consult the physician or the COVID team in the nearest hospital and get yourself treated. As per what the doctor has instructed, please follow the protocol, and when asked to review back in the hospital, so please review back as per the doctor's suggestion. If we have told you these are the things you need to come back to the hospital immediately, so please do not delay there. So we can minimize the delay from our end in getting ourselves tested, minimize the delay in getting ourselves treated and coming back to the hospital. So these are the three main messages that I would give, where we can minimize the delay in order for everything to go smooth. Now next about the infection, okay? Vaccination. Now we have two main vaccines in India, that is the Covishield and Covaxin. See, who is eligible to take the vaccine? Now almost everybody, including, children are not eligible to take vaccine as of now, and pregnant and lactating women are not eligible to take the vaccine as of now. So apart from that, anybody above 18 is about eligible to take. Even those with any comorbidities like diabetes, high blood pressure, any heart issues, those on dialysis, those taking treatment for cancer, all of them are eligible to take the vaccines. So what is the advantage? Now many people might ask, why should we take the vaccine? What is the advantage? See, one thing is we can break the chain of transmission. Second thing is to protect from the severity of the disease. See, I would like to tell you very clearly, by taking vaccine, please do not think I will not get the infection at all. No, it is not like that. You might still get the infection. The only advantage of the vaccine is the severity in case there is cross protection from the antibodies due to the vaccine, which will fight against the disease. So the severity will be, the impact will be the less severe disease after vaccination. So these are the two main advantages of the vaccine. See, nobody is forcing you to take a vaccine, but given the advantage, it's better to take the vaccine than suffer from a severe infection, because the course of COVID-19 is slightly unpredictable and we do not know in whom it will be severe and whom it might not be severe. It depends on each one's response to the infection and your status of the immunity. So these are the advantages of infection, and eligibility I have already told. Now coming to the efficacy, Covishield is 71% efficacy and Covaxin has 78% efficacy after the trials that have been done. Now, though the efficacy is not much different between the two, both are equally good. Okay, Covishield is also good, Covaxin is also good, and it's a matter of just about 7 to 8% of difference in efficacy. So the efficacy is not huge. So I would like to tell both are equally good and not one is better than the other. It's nothing like that. And after the infection, after the vaccination also, please make sure to use the same mask, hand hygiene, and distancing protocols. You have to follow the same, because like I told you, it's not going to prevent you from getting the infection. Only vaccination will help you in severity. So it doesn't mean once you have got your 2 doses of vaccine, you can go without the mask or hand hygiene. No, please do not do that. Continue to use your mask, hand hygiene, and follow the distancing measures. And I would like to tell you one more thing regarding the vaccine. See, after the first dose also, you're equally susceptible to get a severe COVID-19 infection, because in the first dose, we're just introducing it to the body. You're equally susceptible for the infection. It's only after the second dose that your immunity is going to boost up completely. So it's essential to get 2 doses of the vaccine. 2 doses of the vaccine is very essential, and the immunity will boost up only after the second dose. So even after first dose, there might be many people who would have got the infection and a little severe also. So that is possible. So you have to complete the 2-dose schedule for a complete protection and decrease in the severity. Okay, so this is about the vaccines in general. Any questions we can take up as we start the interactive session. And yeah, one more thing that I would like to tell is, see, we all are seeing there's a lot of information about COVID, whether on online platforms, the social media platforms, the news channels, the newspapers, and whatnot. One thing I would like to tell is, please do not rely or decide for yourself if the information is right, especially what is circulating on social media. I would like to tell that there's a lot of information more than what is required, which is doing the rounds. And like you all know, half-baked information is always dangerous. Okay, so that's what is happening every day with some information coming up. There's no complete knowledge. The news channels are interpreting in whichever way they want. The newspapers are interpreting it in whichever way they want. And people who are circulating messages on social media are interpreting in whichever way they want. Based on that, please do not decide for yourself that this treatment modality is best, this has to be done, this vaccine is not good. No, based on these are not the reliable sources of information for you to decide on which information is right and wrong. Second thing is, we know there is a crisis. The health system is overwhelmed. Yeah, there was shortage of beds, so many things. And see, as human beings, what we all do is we tend to always blame the others. Yeah, the government is not right, the system is not right, there are 100 scams. Yeah, I agree with everything. But see, given in this pandemic, COVID-19 spreads from one person to the other, right? And this has become a pandemic. It's a complete outbreak. There is community transmission. So before blaming anybody else, first we all need to think each one of us is responsible in order to break this chain of transmission in this time of pandemic. Each one should be responsible to think, yes, I should not spread it to the other person. Okay. And then, okay, once we have done our best, fine, this is not right, that is not right, the health system is not right, the government is not right, yes, then we can go on blaming. But first we need to check ourselves. So I would like to request all of them, see, behavior change is very important, because second wave is not the last. Okay. The COVID virus is there, the COVID-19 virus is there, and as a property of the virus, it's going to mutate. Okay. So it's going to be there. And scientists are predicting many more waves. So the one thing that can prevent is responsible action from all of our sides, so that we do not go on increasing the spread. And for that, each one needs to use the mask. Each one needs to follow the distancing outside. See what happens, everybody thinks, oh, it will not be me, I will not get infection, I can go out without a mask, let others use. No, it is not like that. I've seen even educated people do this. So please, all of us should have that responsibility, and please tell it to your relatives and friends who have not been following protocols as well, as this is what is going to prevent even the outbreak of the third wave. See, the third wave is due to come, but these are the behavior is what is actually increasing the severity and the transmission. More than the severity, is the increasing the transmission is the behavior of people. So that needs to change. Okay, now we can take up the questions. So I've been seeing questions coming. Okay,
Doctor, I think I can read the questions for you and then.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I'll take the first question.
Yeah.
Someone has asked, I was COVID positive. I got recovered. So when can I take vaccine?
Okay, see, once who have got COVID-19 infection, you can take your vaccine 4 weeks after the complete resolution of all your symptoms. 4 weeks after resolution of all your symptoms, you can take your vaccine.
Thank you, doctor. So I'll take next question.
Yes.
If someone is COVID positive, can he take vaccine? If tested positive after first dose, can he go for second dose? If not, should he need to take both the doses again?
Okay. So you have taken your first dose and you've turned out to be COVID positive. So no problem. You can take the second dose again after 4 weeks of your symptoms being completely resolved. Okay. And I just read a question, so I would like to clarify here only. Whoever has taken the first dose of Covishield should take the second dose also Covishield only. And if somebody has taken Covaxin as the first dose, you have to take Covaxin only as the second dose. Please do not mix up the vaccines for your different doses, because then it is not going to work. The mechanism of action of Covishield and Covaxin is different. Okay, though the objective is the same, the mechanism of action will be different. Hence, you need to complete the doses of the same type. Covishield 2 doses, Covaxin 2 doses. Do not mix it up.
Thank you, doctor. So next question, if someone has a skin allergy, can they take vaccine?
See, if you have a very severe just a skin allergy, you can just, it depends on the severity. If it's something mild, you can take it. But if there is some severe skin allergy or allergy to any of the drugs, then we will not give the vaccine. It's contraindicated. It's a mild dust allergy kind of things, you can take the vaccine. But if you have some severe allergy with the skin, there are different conditions where you have the severity is different. In that case, we will not give the vaccine. Please do not take. So in that case, you can consult or consult the physician before you take the vaccine.
Okay, doctor.
Yeah.
Question, vaccinations not available is a big concern. When will this ease out?
Okay, now what happens with the vaccine, I understand, but we need to wait for the government to tell us about this. See, because they are the ones who are actually supplying the vaccines. So without the government guidelines, even the private channels, it's a little difficult. The private channels have no authority to decide all by themselves. So for when will this be sorted out and when the stocks will be out, when can we resume vaccination for above 18 to 44? We need to wait from the government guidelines. We need to see what the government tells.
Next question. My baby is 2 months old. How to recognize the symptoms of newborn baby?
Okay, see, in newborn baby, I understand babies is difficult to communicate what is happening. See, in case of high temperature, okay, you can pick up in case of high temperature. The baby is restless or not feeding well, okay, and is a little lethargic. You can make out if the baby is sick. Main thing, not feeding well, restless, high temperature, or anything like cold and cough which is coming out, then you can consult the pediatrician at the earliest.
Thank you, doctor. So next question. If a person gets infected after getting the first sort of vaccine, then when should the second vaccine be given to the person? I think you have already answered this.
Yes, 4 weeks after the resolution of symptoms, you can take your second dose.
Next question, could you please elaborate on who should not take the vaccine? I think this also answered, right?
Okay, so who should not take the vaccine is pregnant ladies and ladies who are breastfeeding their children are not supposed to take. We do not have guidelines for them as of now because we are waiting for the trials to be over. See, regarding children, there is still no clarity. The approval is there, but still it has to come out clearly, the guidelines. So until then, please wait and do not get your children vaccinated. And people who have allergy to any medicines, okay, any allergic or severe anaphylactic reactions to any medicines or any other previous vaccine doses for whatever they need to, they will not be getting the vaccine. They need to tell it very clearly to the vaccinator. Apart from this, everybody else is eligible to take the vaccine.
Thank you, doctor. So next question, someone is asking how to take fruits and vegetables.
How to take fruits and vegetables. Okay, see, now there is nothing like this much. See, you need to take servings of fruits and vegetables in good quantities. See, right from our school days, we all have been studying about the balanced diet, the triangle and the balanced, that food plate. Okay, all of us will know it from our school days. So what is the here? There is a lot of importance. Why focus on balanced diet is that is what is going to give you a good immunity. We need food groups from all groups. We need food from all groups, whether it is carbohydrate, proteins, vitamins, minerals, dairy products. So everything is included. And when it comes to see, vitamins and minerals are your protective. We call it the protective elements because it has it's going to boost up your immunity. And where is this coming from in our food is from the vegetables and the fruits. Vegetables and fruits are the richest source of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. And it's also there in other food groups, but this is the main. One sad thing which we come across in our practice is even adults don't eat vegetables and fruits. Mainly we think our kids do not eat, but it's not like that. Most of the adults also do not consume, which will cause a very weak immunity. So please see to it that you are consuming fruits and vegetables in good serving, okay? Whether it is in your curry, whether it is in your sambar or rasam. So include fruits and vegetables, and seasonal fruits also good. There is nothing that specifically you have to eat. You have to eat all fruits and vegetables and include it in your diet every day because that will help you boosting your immunity, and you don't even have to take supplements. See, once your diet is healthy and nutritious, you don't even have to take multivitamin and multimineral supplements. You're already getting it in your diet.
Thank you, doctor. So next question. Someone has asked, I went to a hospital 10 days back. 4 days I started getting pain in stomach and motion was not good too. I did a RT-PCR test and report is negative.
Okay.
Though motion is fine now, still feeling pain in stomach. Should I go for RT-PCR test again after 3 to 4 days? Since
No.
RT-PCR test results.
Okay. See, you do not have any loose stools as such, nothing like a loose motion. Might be you have some issues like constipation, and you've already got your RT-PCR tested. Don't get it tested. Please, you can consult any physician or a medical gastroenterologist. It could be some other issue also. See, not everything that happens is related to COVID. Okay, see, if you have fever, if you have sore throat, running nose, throat pain, cough, whether it is dry or productive, that is if something is coming out, loose motions, vomiting, unexplained tiredness, then a lot of headache along with all these, then please get yourself tested for COVID-19. Anything apart from this, it need not be an infectious course also. We need to evaluate so many other things. So you can consult a medical gastroenterologist. Please do not get a RT-PCR done again now.
Okay, doctor.
Yes.
Next question. Once infected, after how many days can person take first dose? I think you have answered this. No?
Yeah, 4 weeks after symptom resolution.
Can a 75 years old, very less hemoglobin levels, take vaccination?
Okay, now see, a 75-year-old can take the less hemoglobin. Yeah, it's not how less. I mean, I want to know the hemoglobin level. And if the hemoglobin level is so less, is there any, you need to get it worked up as to why there is less hemoglobin. But otherwise, if it's around 8 or 9 or 10, you can definitely get the vaccine. People even 100 plus, 105 years, all these individuals have got themselves vaccinated. If it's a mild anemia, yes, you can. Even if it's severe, the only thing is you need to know what is the cause of anemia. So that needs to be investigated. But eligibility for vaccine is there, yes.
Doctor. So next question, someone is asking, which vaccine according to you is preferred one, Covishield or Covaxin?
Okay, see, like I already told you, both are equally good. I wouldn't tell one is preferred over the other. Okay, and even if you have to take in terms of efficacy after the trials, Covishield is 71 and Covaxin is around 78, and the difference is not much. So I wouldn't tell one is preferred over the other. You can take either of them, whatever is available, you can choose either. So don't worry if somebody has got Covishield, oh, I should have got Covaxin. Or somebody has got Covaxin, don't think I should have got Covishield. Both will work in their respective ways and both are equally good. It's a very minimal difference between the two. And I just saw somebody ask me about the Sputnik. Okay, the Sputnik vaccine, I'll just mention, is still not rolled out for all over the country. See, initially it was not even there in India. Right now they've got some doses for some trials in India. But one thing, when the efficacy is 91, definitely yes. But that is as per the trials. But one thing we need to be sure is Sputnik might not be rolled. We need to wait and see what will happen with Sputnik, because the temperature for it, the logistics for its storage is a little difficult. So we don't know if it will be possible all over India. So please, if somebody is waiting that I will take Sputnik once it comes, please do not do that. Okay, we don't know if it will be rolled out also all over India, given its logistical issues regarding the storage and all that. So please do not keep waiting for that. Whatever is available, it would be good if you take it.
Okay, doctor. So next question, can breastfeeding women take vaccine and child age is 14 months?
No. This I clearly told, people who are breastfeeding are not supposed to take the vaccine. The guidelines have not come out yet. The trials are still in place and there is no clarity. So until the guidelines come, do not take. As of now, you are not eligible to take. Pregnant and breastfeeding women are not eligible to take as of now.
Okay, doctor. So next question. My mother was vaccinated with first dose and it's for she couldn't take the second dose one because of non-availability. Is it okay to take the vaccine whenever it is available?
Okay, see, if it is Covishield, if it's Covishield, yes, you can take it after until about 12 weeks also. Okay, so that is roughly about 4 weeks, about 3 months. Until 3 months, you have time to get a second dose of Covishield. If it's Covaxin, it's preferable within 4 weeks. But if Covaxin was not available, you can get it in the next month also. Within a gap of 1 month also, you can get your second dose. But Covaxin is being available. Covishield, if it's in Bangalore, it's available in Apollo. So if it's been 6 weeks after her first dose, please try to get her dose in Apollo Hospital if you're in Bangalore.
One next question, I think this is the common question from everyone. How to keep healthy at home as we are not at all going out these days?
Yes. Okay. So yes, I understand this is a question because most of you are working from home and not even able to go. The parks are closed. What I would like to tell is, see, yes, physical activity is essential. And you're not even able to go out to exercise or your gyms where many people might be going. Please, wherever you are, see, one thing is you can still work out at home. You can do some routine exercises. And there are so many apps available for exercises now. And apart from that, you can choose any exercise that you like. And you can spend about 30 to 45 minutes, at least 5 days a week, doing some physical exercise in your house itself. Okay, and if you have an open space or terrace or anything like that, you can do a brisk walk for say even half an hour. People who do not want to do some rigorous or moderate exercises also, you can do a brisk walking at home. I understand you cannot jog and all that, but you can just change your exercise. See, people who are used to jogging, I understand you cannot do it. So choose some other exercise program that you will enjoy. Okay, so one thing is you should not force yourself to do something that you do not like. There are different varieties of exercise. See, yoga is for flexibility. Walking and skipping and those other things come under the cardio kind of exercises where you're in endurance building. So you can combine both this and do an exercise schedule right at wherever you are without having to step out. Second thing is healthy diet. Like I already discussed about the healthy diet. See, what happens is when you're working at home, when you're mostly sedentary in front of the laptop, you're not able to move around much. That is when we try to eat a lot of junk also, because now we tend to try so many things. So you have to be very conscious about cutting down on the junk food right now, especially when you're more sedentary, okay, and not even moving around. So like I told you, one exercise, one diet, and second thing is and third thing is, okay, healthy body we spoke about. One is your diet and exercise. A healthy mind is very, very essential. So please, for one thing at this, I understand the stress that all of us are going out, and each one will have stress in their own way, whether it is juggling between work and house related activities. Many people falling ill at this time. Many people have undergone the COVID infection themselves, and that's a stress all in itself. So to keep in a healthy mind, we need to be a little stress-free. Do not keep on watching the news, seeing the trends of the how the COVID infection is rising. See, all this will tend to create more anxiety in us. We need to follow a lot of stress relaxation activities and not mainly I would like to tell, because of the information overload is what is making the situation is more panicky, and it's creating more anxiety in people. So please do not get hooked on to a lot of social media and news channels unnecessarily. Just take in that much of information that is required and do some activities that you enjoy, that is relaxation and for stress. And if really there's something that's bothering you and you're not able to handle it, if many people are having panic attack or lot of anxiety which you feel you need help for, you can always have an online consultation with the psychologist also. But otherwise, a healthy mind and a healthy body, these are the general things that needs to be done.
Thank you, doctor, for detailed explanation. Next question. If we affected by COVID and tested positive or had the all symptoms, we need to wait for vaccine for some time, delay like 30 to 45 days.
Yes. See, if you have had, if you're having active infection, COVID or any other active infection, okay, it could be TB or anything else, please do not take the vaccine. And even if you feel, oh, this might be COVID like symptoms, do not get yourself vaccinated. Get yourself tested. And if it turns out to be positive, like I told you, 4 weeks after your symptoms have resolved completely, that is when you need to take the vaccine. Any other active infection apart from COVID also, please do not take the vaccine.
Next question. I heard from some people that after taking vaccine, we should not take any painkillers for 3 weeks. Is it true?
There will be some common side effects after vaccine. Like there will be pain at the site of injection, there will be fever, there might be body pain. But what we will suggest is anywhere you go, they will tell you, you can just take a Dolo 650. Okay, in case you have fever or a lot of body pain, you can take Dolo 650. That is what is generally told by all the doctors. And that will help you sort out all your pain and fever. You can take it. But do not take any medicines all by yourself. Dolo 650 will do.
Thank you, doctor. So next question, I think you have already answered this. How about Sputnik vaccine efficiency?
Yeah, efficacy of Sputnik is 91.6, and I've already told you, so if somebody is waiting for this vaccine particularly and not taking Covishield and Covaxin, please do not do that, because we are not sure if it will be rolled out all over India given the logistical issues. The efficacy is generally much more than Covishield and Covaxin, but let's see when it happens.
Okay, doctor, next question. Apart from basic protocols like social distancing, using masks and hygiene, do we have any preventive medicines?
Okay. No, there is nothing preventive medicines. Okay. And these are the preventive measures that has to be followed. And let's not wait for any preventive medicine. Okay. There is no other preventive medicine which is going to prevent the infection. Like I told, everybody is at risk of getting the infection. And better than waiting for a preventive medicine, we need to make changes in our behavior so that we follow these preventive measures automatically without even having to take a pill or a medicine to prevent the infection. Just by a behavior change, there's so much that can be done to curtail the infection. Let's not wait for any medicine, and there is no medicine as such.
So this is again one of the common questions. So I think it's already been answered. Can the vaccines be mixed between first and second dose?
Yes, I've already answered, but I would like to repeat so that nobody does this. You cannot mix up the vaccines. If you have taken Covishield as the first dose, you need to take Covishield only as the second dose. And if you have taken Covaxin first dose, you need to take Covaxin only as a second dose, because their mechanism of action is different. If we want the full benefit, we need to take 2 doses of the same kind.
Okay. So next question, does the immunity decrease after first dose is taken? Means if a person has to go out after first dose of vaccine.
Okay, see, immunity is not decreasing after vaccine at all in any which way. That is why we are giving the vaccine, so that your immunity is boosted up to fight the COVID infection. Okay, so after the first dose, your immunity is just primed, and your immunity is not decreasing in any way. We are just introducing a form of the inactivated virus to your immune system. It is not going to decrease your immunity in any way. And after the second dose, your immunity is against COVID infection is going to be boosted up after your second dose. So there is nothing that is going to decrease your immunity or change your immunity levels in any way. After your second dose, your immunity will be boosted up. to fight against the infection. And that's how it will work against the severity also.
Thank you, Doctor. Next question. I think everybody wants to know that. So is COVID third wave is true or rumor? If it is true, how dangerous it is compared to second wave?
Okay, see now there are a lot of scientists here. Ever since the first wave, scientists are working on this, and a lot of mathematical modeling being done by scientists all over the world, including India, ICMR, the Indian Council of Medical Research, so many medical bodies, the public health experts, all of them are doing this mathematical modeling. As per the modeling and based on the trends, yes, many experts, virologists, experts in India are telling that the third wave is inevitable, and definitely I would tell that it's not rumor, because there is a third wave happening in the Western countries. So it's only a matter of time before the third wave will come here. And it's not about the third wave. There might be many more recurrences of the infection peaking. So third wave is definitely going to come. And the only thing is right now at this stage, we can predict the trend based on the current situation. Based on the current situation, we can forecast as to what is happening, including the mathematical modeling. But only when it actually happens, we will get a lot more information as well. But the third wave is due, yes, and they're telling it will be due in this year only, because we're not far behind. The Western countries are already having it, whether it's US or European countries. The third wave, what is expected is, see, if people do not change their behavior, which is a very sad part, even now, there are many people out there not using the mask, not following the distancing. People who are COVID positive are roaming around outside, spreading the infection to others. See, this is what has given in a rapid spread of infection this time in the second wave. It's the people's behavior. See, because the second wave, the infectivity rate has been more. The spread is faster. So if infected people are roaming around in the communities, in the marketplaces, then obviously they're spreading it to others. This is where people's behavior will matter a lot even in the third wave. That's why I gave a strong message as to why each of us should be very responsible. So third wave, what we can expect is children. See, children are being affected even now, but they're recovering good. But in third wave, it's expected that children might have a little severe infection. It depends. Children are most probably more likely to be affected in third wave, as per the what we are expecting.
Thank you, Doctor, for the clarification.
Yeah.
So next question, someone has asked, I have been detected positive, currently no major symptoms and recovering.
Okay.
Antigen or RT-PCR, and when?
Okay. See, if you're already tested to be COVID positive, and you're recovering, please do not repeat the test. Actually, this is not recommended to repeat the test just to see if you're negative or you have recovered from the infection. One, because see, we stopped doing this long back actually, even before the guidelines could come, because sometimes even the dead virus can be detected and your result can be positive. So that's how we stopped doing the test. Now, currently, the ICMR also has given very clear testing guidelines that you're not supposed to get your RT-PCR tested just to see if you're negative, because it's an unnecessary burden on the health system. There are many people with symptoms and primary contacts whom we need to test. There is already a lag on the reports. So these kind of unnecessary testing is not required, and it's not recommended also. Second thing is rapid antigen. Please do not take the rapid antigen. Rapid antigen is for emergency purpose. Say, suppose we are taking up any patient for surgery, for any other procedure, or we need a immediate admission. So only in these cases, a rapid antigen is preferred. Okay, so please do not get either of the tests repeated just to see if you're negative. It's not recommended anymore.
Okay, doctor. So next question. Someone has asked, me and spouse both infected by COVID positive, and we were in home quarantine and completed 15 days.
Okay.
My question is, we have 2 years baby. What are the precautions we have to take?
Okay, see, you have finished your 15 days of isolation, but still for another 1 week, please continue to use the mask. And I think the child is 2 year old. Is the child 2 year old? Okay, if the child is 2 year old,
The child is 2 years old.
okay, please do not, for another 1 week, please do not hug the child or be in very close contact with the child. I understand it's very difficult and stressful as parents because the child is too small to understand the gravity of the situation and why the parents are not hugging or coming very close. But for another 1 week, you can continue. Please use a mask at least, okay? With the, yeah, especially when interacting with the child.
Next question, I think you answered this. Can a pregnant lady also take COVID vaccine? Is any
No.
side effect of upcoming child, so they can't take? You've already answered.
Yes, no, they're not supposed to take at all.
Okay, so we'll go to next questions. I have not taken any dose of vaccination and I got COVID. So how many days I have to wait to take my first dose?
Okay, this also I've already answered. It's 4 weeks after you're completely recovered. If it's been 4 weeks since you have completely recovered, you can take your first dose of vaccine and please do take it.
There's one more question. Is it true for ladies to avoid vaccination during their 5th day of menstrual cycle?
Okay, no, see that message which is doing the rounds in social media since some weeks that if you're menstruating, you cannot take your vaccine. It is not like that. So that message is not right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next questions. I would like to bring up a query on behalf of my parents.
Okay.
Second dose of Covishield, as they are currently in the 28 to 56 days window period due to shortage of vaccines. The time window period is shortening. Is there an alternative option, or is it okay to take the second dose post 56 days period?
Okay, see, you can take it within 3 months because they have received Covishield. It can be taken within 3 months after the first dose. Even 3 months after the first dose, they can take it. That is up to 12 weeks after the first dose, you can take it.
Okay, doctor. So next question, again, it is related to vaccination only.
Yes.
Taken first dose of Covaxin.
Yeah.
Second dose supposed to be taken after 28 days, but due to unavailability of second dose, what to be done? How long it will be safe to take second dose?
Okay, see, if you right now, if I don't know where the participant is from, in which city, if you're in Bangalore, see, there are a couple of hospitals where you're getting Covaxin, private hospitals, apart from the government also. And it's walk-in also for the second dose of Covaxin. So please try to walk in and avail the facility. There is time you can come early to the hospital, get yourself registered. Like say if they're giving 100 tokens, you can come early and take it. So for COVID and Covaxin second dose, it should not be much of a problem. But say you have missed it for some reason, you can take it within the next month. Another 4 weeks is okay.
Okay, doctor. So next question, my father is taking medicines for bipolar.
Yes.
From long time. Should he take the vaccine?
Yes, he's eligible to take the vaccine. He can take.
Okay. So one more question. Being a woman, will I be getting any side effects after getting vaccinated? I heard there will be fertility issues. Is it so?
Oh, okay. See, men or women, yes, there will be side effects. See, like with any medicines, okay, or anything for that matter, has its own side effects. There is benefits, there is risk. So same way with vaccine. If you all have children under 5, we all take them for immunization, okay, until they're 5 years. And definitely there are side effects. Even the vaccinator will tell there will be fever, there will be pain, but still we get our children vaccinated, right? So the same way with adults, and the same with any medicine, vaccine has side effects. And the most common ones are the mild side effects like fever, body pain, then tendon or the pain at the site of injection. There might be some small swelling. So yes, side effects are there. Okay. So just because of the side effects, please do not take a step back and tell I will not get vaccinated. No. Bearing this mild side effects is much better than bearing a severe COVID infection. So side effects is going to be there, something mild. And in few cases, one-off cases reported, there are different side effects also. Second thing is, especially for women and fertility issues, please, there is nothing like that. Your fertility is not going to be affected by the vaccine at all in any way. Okay, do not go by that news. Yeah.
Next question.
Yes.
By unknowingly, if anyone takes each dose from Covishield, what needs to be done?
Pardon? One dose of what?
1 dose of Covaxin and 1 dose of Covishield unknowingly. What needs to be done?
Okay, see, there's nothing that you need to do, but I would see this unknowingly. I don't know how without knowing. See, nowadays, especially just by seeing the news, if you can question so much, I mean, anybody could question so much. What is that? What is this? Why there is no bed? Then definitely each one should know what vaccine they're getting. Okay, first of all, you'll also get a certificate. Okay, each one is registered on the app and you're getting a certificate. So I don't know how unknowingly you have taken the other vaccine. So the probability is actually very less that unknowingly you would have taken it. But knowingly, if you have taken the 2 doses, I mean, it's nothing that's going to happen. But preferably you have to take one. Like I told you, if you take one of Covishield, one of Covaxin, you're the one who's going to lose out on the benefit because you're not going to get the full benefit of either. So if you have taken, just stick on to one. Now, do not go and get the second dose for both again. Whatever is your latest, just stick on to the second dose of the same. And there is a clear COVID vaccination certificate after each dose. And the type of vaccine is also mentioned. And people who are vaccinating are also asking what you have taken. So unknowingly, you having taken it, the probability is very less. But knowingly, please do not do it. And just stick on to one. If you have taken Covishield last, take the second dose of Covishield only. Just one type. Otherwise, you lose out on the benefit for your own self.
Thank you, doctor. So next question. We are hearing a lot about black fungus. What is it and prevention measure?
Okay, see, black fungus news is doing the rounds. I understand, but it's nothing for all of you to worry. Okay, because it's not going to be, we need to be more worried about how we can stop the prevention, or how each of us can stop the prevention of the infection from our end, than be bothered about the black fungus news that's been going around. See, that's a fungal infection, yes, and this is not new. Okay, I would like to tell it's not new, it's been there. In medicine textbooks, we have been seeing cases since long. The only thing it's out now in the news because, like I told you, more than the information, there's an overload and it's reaching people more than required. See, this fungal infection, people who are more prone to this are whose immunity is very low. And this is rampant now, or it's come out in more incidents now because with severe COVID infection, obviously, their immunity is lowered. They are taking they are being hospitalized for a long time. So obviously there are chances of secondary infections, whether it is secondary bacterial, secondary fungal infections are all there. So general public need not worry about this. and its prevention. It's not for the general public. The general public should worry about the prevention of COVID infection itself, which can be done in all our levels.
Next question. Can we take multivitamin, vitamin C, and antibiotic tablet for precaution?
Please do not take an antibiotic tablet for precaution, and neither a supplement. See, like I told you, if you are having a healthy diet with all the food groups included, especially your vegetables, fruits consumption is good, you do not require a supplement at all, multi-mineral, multivitamins or vitamin C, vitamin D supplements at all. Instead, consume vitamin C rich fruits, your orange, your musambis, your papayas. You can consume all the fruits instead of taking a supplement. It's more natural. And please do not do any thing like taking an antibiotic as a precaution, because then you will be doing more harm than good. Because without reason, if you're popping antibiotic pills, okay, and that too without any doctor's suggestion or without any reason for the taking antibiotic at all, then what you're going to do is you're going to cause resistance in yourself. Say, suppose tomorrow you have an infection for which an antibiotic, we are going to put an antibiotic, then it's not going to work because you have already introduced the antibiotic into your body for no reason. And now the bacteria will be resistant and no antibiotics are going to work for you. So please do not pop antibiotics just like that. Already there are, so many issues about antibiotic resistance, and there is a super drug also, super bacteria, which is actually resistant to even the highest antibiotic which is available. If that is the case, then you will be more susceptible for infections and no treatment can be given to you. So please do not do that.
So next question, if anybody is having thyroid and lungs problem, dust allergy in lungs, can they take vaccination and above 60 years of age?
Okay. See, yes, above 60 years of age, thyroid problems, yes, is again not a contraindication for the vaccine. Anybody having any thyroid issues, hypo or hyper, can take the vaccine. And even if you're having asthma or any chronic lung issues, chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, also you're eligible to take the vaccine. Dust allergy is okay. You can take the vaccine. People who are asthmatic can take the vaccine. People who are having bronchitis can take the vaccine.
Okay, doctor. So one more question. Since 2 months, I lost my smell and taste. But when I do test, the report was negative.
Okay.
What's the reason for loss of smell and taste?
Okay. The common reason now is yes. It also depends on when you have got your test done. Apart from loss of smell and taste, if you do not have any other symptoms like cough, fever, difficulty in breathing, or any discomfort, then you can go to an ENT specialist and get it evaluated, because there might be some other cause. But if you have lost your smell and taste and you're having your RT-PCR might have been negative, but if you're having issues like cough, fever, sore throat, tiredness, and unexplained tiredness, then please go to the nearest hospital in the COVID team, because we can evaluate you in other ways apart from our RT-PCR also.
The next question. What's your opinion of taking Gencovit tablets and homeo arsenic album for the immunity?
Okay, see, like I told you, whether it is Zincovit or any other vitamins, either it's vitamin C, Zincovit, vitamin D alone, I would not suggest any of you to take these supplements unless you're deficient in this and the doctor has prescribed. And just for boosting up the immunity is not required if you're following if your diet is healthy in general. please do not take the supplements just to boost up your immunity. You're already getting your everyday dose of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants from the food that you're taking. So in that case, you don't have to take any pill, any supplements for this. Unless you're deficient, and say if you're deficient in vitamin B12 or in vitamin D and the doctor has specifically asked you to take it, then you can continue the supplements for that duration of time. But as a precautionary measures to keep your immunity all good, supplements are not required. Do a regular physical exercise, follow a good lifestyle, and healthy lifestyle includes both exercise, diet, healthy mind, everything. So then your immunity will be good. See, every single person who is alive is at risk of any infection, COVID or anything. Okay, it's not that oh, if my immunity is very good, I'm not going to get the infection at all. No. So the good immunity will help you in fighting the infection faster and better. So in people with very good immunity, you will recover very fast from any infection, COVID or otherwise. And also your body will fight it better. The severity will be less. So these are the advantages of good immunity. A good immunity will not prevent anybody from getting, oh, I will not get any infection in my entire life. No, it's not like that. You will still be at risk of getting the infection, but you'll fight it out very well, faster and much better compared to those with a weaker immunity. So please do not take any supplements to boost up your immunity in general. Just follow a healthy lifestyle.
Thank you, doctor. So next question, about after getting vaccinated, any procedures we need to follow while having food or related work?
Okay, no. See, there's nothing that just while having after vaccination, any changes in the diet is required. No, nothing like that. But after vaccination, you need to continue to follow the mask, the hand hygiene and the social distancing measures. That will not change. No specific instructions for the diet.
Thank you, doctor. So next question, what are the spreading ways for COVID, like water? Recently, my family member got COVID. How I get to know things muted? It's just human to human, or it's spreading all touchables?
Okay, see, the major mode of spread is through the droplets from person to person. See, if somebody is coughing, say a person is infected with COVID, he's not using any mask. Without a mask, the other person who is in his vicinity, or say the primary contacts at home, okay, they're also not using masks. So, and he's coughing, he's sneezing. So this is a droplet infection and it will spread from one person to other person, whoever is in close contact. And that's why we are following the mask and the distancing, because this is the commonest route of spread. Second thing is, why are we focusing on the hand hygiene is, say, because you're touching any common surfaces. If you're going out for work, if you're in some essential service, you're going out for work, or you're going out into the marketplace and you're handling any bags which is being exchanged, you're handling materials which is being exchanged. And if that contains any secretions, say somebody has coughed or sneezed and is touching some particular article and giving it to you, and you're taking it, okay, and then so obviously you're more, and then you touch your nose, your eyes, then there is all chances that the virus is entering your body. This is where hand hygiene is important. Why are we telling you after you go out, you come, follow the hand hygiene, you're touching common surfaces, door handles, follow hand hygiene. If somebody is COVID infected at home, they need to be isolated, so that all this is spread through the fomites is also less. So one is close contact person to person through fomites. Okay, through fomites is also possible. So these are the commonest route of spread. Airborne is still a controversy. It's there since last year, but nobody has been able to prove that it is completely airborne as of now. So these are the two common measures, and that's why we follow the 3 precautionary measures of mask, hand hygiene, and distancing. It's spread through close contact, through secretions. And one more thing is, if somebody is handling materials, the secretions present on those surfaces will help in the transmission.
Yeah, one more question. I think everybody wants to know. For this, though, a lot of this thing data are not available or clinical trials not done in India for these vaccines. This is related with pregnant women. So
Okay.
someone is asking, gynecologist now suggesting to take vaccine for breastfeeding women as well. I have consulted yesterday. She said that both vaccines are safe and organization like FIGO is encouraging to take. Is there any data where it impacted worsely to lactating women or baby, or it's just like due to lack of data you are
Yes.
to take?
Okay, see, one thing that pregnant and breastfeeding women were not included in the group was because of lack of data. Okay, because pregnant and breastfeeding women are a very vulnerable group because see, you're carrying, okay, there is a child, there is a fetus inside the womb, and in case of lactating or feeding women, there is a small child who is at equally risk. So, without enough data, they did not want to proceed with the vaccination. Yes, I agree. There is FIGO and certain doctor groups which are pressing for the immunization in lactating mothers because they feel it might be of benefit to the child as well. So these are some opinions based on some experts, but as such, it is not rolled out. Okay, if you are completely trusting your gynecologist and you want to go ahead, you can. It's just based on your decision. But as of now, those certain groups, certain doctors, certain experts, and FIGO, the Association of Gynecologists and Obstetricians, have recommended it to the government. The government has still not given it out as a clear guideline. Okay, see, because when anything is being rolled out at a national level, the government needs to be very careful. The policy makers need to be very careful. Yes, they definitely will consider the opinions of the gynecologists, the certain doctor groups, but they will be very careful and only then it will be rolled out. So as of now, it's not a guideline that you can be given. But if you are like completely lactating, your gynecologist has convinced you and you are convinced that yes, I can take, I can trust, it will be based on your own choice. And this is because still we do not have sufficient data. That's why we're waiting for the trials to be complete. If you want a clear-cut guideline, then you need to wait until the government tells, yes, it is safe for you to take.
Thank you, doctor. So next question. For asymptomatic or mild COVID, after how many days person can come out from isolation and can meet the family members?
Okay, see here what we are following in the hospital is generally we tell 21 days. You need to complete your isolation 21 days after your onset of symptoms. Okay, and say suppose you're asymptomatic and you happen to get it tested because you were a primary contact. So please still follow 21 days because there will be some elderly people at home who might be at risk of getting the infection. You might be asymptomatic, but you're still carrying the virus, and then the others might be susceptible. So follow a 21-day isolation protocol.
I think we have already asked this question once. For few people has got typhoid symptoms and doctor has given medication for typhoid, but later stage they were found COVID positive. Why is it happening?
See, if somebody is typhoid and also COVID positive, there is it could be a co-infection. Okay, it could be just that there are so many instances where there are hepatitis and typhoid also. So the same way there can be two co-infections in a particular person, and the route of spread of typhoid is completely different. It is more of your food hygiene. If you have eaten somewhere outside with unboiled, especially the unboiled drinking unboiled water, uncooked food, then you have all the risk of getting a typhoid. And at the same time, if you have had food outside without using your mask and other precautions, and in the vicinity there was COVID positive patients, then you have both probability of getting both the infections.
Thank you, doctor. So next, mask. Should all of us use N95 masks? Is it correct? Will it not create shortage to doctors and nurses? Is cloth
Okay.
mask enough?
Oh, yes. So this is a good question. See, last year, what happened? Why the cloth masks was encouraged was just because something is better than nothing. See, last year it just broke out and it took everybody by surprise. Okay, nobody expected the COVID-19 infection would surge out like this. So yes, at that time there was a shortage of masks, even for the medical personnel. So then what happened was, yeah, obviously the general public didn't have, but everybody was supposed to use a mask. So that's how it was told that, okay, a cloth mask is also better because something is better than nothing, than just moving around with nothing at all. A cloth mask can be used. But for now, please do not use a cloth mask, especially when you're stepping outside to buy any provisions, any marketplace, any work outside your house. Please do not use a cloth mask. Now there are N95 also, surgical masks also in sufficient quantities. See, because over the 1 year, now they know that this has been happening and the production is good. So please do not stick on to cloth mask, because cloth mask, the risk with cloth mask is it will absorb. See, there is somebody standing next to you and coughing and it settles on your cloth mask. See, what is the property with cloth? It will absorb, doesn't it absorb water? So the same way it will absorb the secretion. So you have the risk of getting the infection still. And with the infectivity rate being much more in the second wave, a cloth mask is not preferable at all, especially with the community transmission. Please go out to the surgical mask or an N95. If you're using only surgical masks, please use 2 surgical masks, okay, which is like snugly fit. If not, a well secured N95 like this will do. And say, suppose you don't have 2 surgical masks or there is some shortage, which is unlikely to be, then use a cloth mask. If you want to use a double mask, use a cloth mask inside and a surgical mask outside. Because in case of any droplet, also the surgical mask will not absorb it. Okay, and you have an inner protection of the cloth mask. Do not do the reverse. That is, do not put the surgical mask inside and use the cloth mask outside. Then it is not going to give you any benefit. Preferably 2 surgical masks when you're going out, or 1 snugly fit N95.
Thank you, doctor. So this is, I think, one of the important question. If someone observing COVID-19 symptom on the same day he got vaccine,
okay,
what should he do? Should he start COVID-19 medication, and also should be quarantined for 14 days?
Okay, see, one thing I would like to tell is, say, suppose you've got your first dose. If you have symptoms, if you feel you have any symptom like sore throat, cough, prior to getting your vaccination only, then please defer getting your vaccination until you're very sure that this is not COVID. So you can get yourself tested. So this is, if you have symptoms before getting the vaccination, do not get the vaccination. Okay, please rule out the COVID infection and only then get the vaccination done. Second thing is, you happen to say take the vaccine. If there is any on the same day, if you're having fever, mild running nose, body pain, it could be because of the vaccine also. So you can wait for about 48 hours. It could be just a side effect of the vaccine. Say even after that you continue to have high grade fever, cough, then you need to consult a doctor. And please do not start COVID-19 medicines all by yourselves based on the prescription that is circulating out in the media. Please do not do that. If you feel, okay, this is a little more severe and I need to get clarified with the doctor whether it is related to the vaccine or not, please go to the doctor and only then conclude. Do not assume things all by yourself. If it's for any mild fever, body pain, wait for 48 hours. It could be because of the vaccination itself. But if you're having high grade fever and cough, then you please have to go and get yourself checked by a doctor.
Thank you, doctor. So next question. So we have recently learned that this is now airborne and probably it will stay active in air for 3 hours approximately. In such cases, what are the minimal precautions we can take even we are at home, considering the fact that I live in the vicinity of a COVID treating hospital?
Okay, see, one thing is it's airborne is not actually proved. Like I told you, there are controversies. There are few people who are telling, yeah, we have data to tell it's airborne, and few people are telling, no, it's not airborne. So it's not yet proved if it's completely airborne or not. Second thing is in environments where there is no natural ventilation, okay, it's mainly air conditioned, especially centralized ACs, okay, where there is the same air which is circulating everywhere. These kind of places, these kind of environments will be at more risk of getting infected, whether it with not only COVID, different kind of viruses and other organisms. So natural ventilation is must, because there should be air exchange. Only then the fresh air will come and send out the contaminated air. So natural ventilation is very good in those cases. And see, in case the airborne theory is proved, then we'll need to keep the mask on everywhere, just not because of contact. So if it's airborne, then even the air entering your house will have the virus. If that theory is proved, then the mask should be on constantly.
Thank you, doctor, for the clarification. So one more question related to newborn baby. If a newborn baby's mother is COVID positive,
Okay.
what are the possible impacts on the baby? Baby also has to be tested?
Yes, see, because a newborn baby will mostly be in very close contact with the mother, and the mother is COVID positive, it's preferable that they will do a testing of the baby also. And we have seen so many newborns also being tested COVID positive, but nothing to worry. See, in children, it will be mainly whether it is newborns or infants or young children, okay, under 5, less than 10. All of them, it's mainly symptomatic treatment. Then you can consult your pediatrician.
Thank you, doctor. So next question, is there any way to recover from lung infection naturally apart from yoga and exercise? Is there any kind of specific food or drinks which are good for lungs?
Okay, see, to recover from any infection, okay, whether it is in the lung, whether it is in the stomach or any other part of the body, your prerequisite is, see, if any person has to recover, your prerequisite is your immunity should be good. That particular infected person's immunity is good, then the recovery is also good. So there is nothing specific. From the beginning, I'm telling you that there's nothing specific to prevent lung infection, stomach infection. In general, if your immunity is good, you will recover from any infection faster and in a much better way. No specific food items told just for this. All food groups should be included. Consume less of junk. Avoid smoking and a regular alcohol consumption, because smoking is going to harm your body anyway. By smoking, you're not going to benefit in any way, and it will go deteriorate your lung functions also. And regular alcohol consumption also has its effects on the immunity. So please avoid these kind of habits and a regular consumption of junk. Instead, focus on a nutritious food. A good immunity will take care of all infections.
Next question, the symptoms of COVID are confusing. For example, if I have cold and related congestion in nose and chest, but no fever, should I be worried?
Yes, see, one thing I would like to tell is when it comes to a disease, okay, it's not that you should have fever. It's not a checklist that you should, only if you have fever, nasal congestion, sore throat, yes, 3 boxes ticked, only then it is COVID. See, when it comes to human beings, it is not like that. It is not 1 + 1 = 2 only. No, it's not like that. Even if you don't have fever, you have sore throat, you have congestion, it could still be COVID. Do not wait until you tick all the symptoms and then tell, oh, now I will go and get tested for COVID. No. Even if you have one of the things, please go to the doctor and consult if you need to get it tested. Even a nasal congestion, chest congestion, cough without fever, please, you need to get yourself tested.
So one last question we can take. Is there any method to decide, any rule to decide the vaccine type?
Okay, see, there is no rule to decide the vaccine type. Like I told you, both are equally good. I have also told the efficacy and the eligibility for both the vaccines remain the same. So in general, and both of them will act in their own way. Like I told you, the mechanism of action is different, but the goal is the same. So there is no rule that to decide which is better. Both are equally good. There's nothing like that.
Yeah, Rahul, we'll close the session.
Yeah, I think we have covered almost all the question. One think somebody has posted and that question is not answered. Single question. So I'm just figuring out. 1 second.
Okay.
I think Vinuta, but you are writing that you have to quickly write your question once again. One question at least. This is the last question we'll be able to take.
See, in the meanwhile, by the time you ask the question, I am seeing some written questions in the chat box. As on ivermectin and a preventive medicine, if we can take it, please do not take any medicines. There is no preventive medicines, and please do not take anything without any symptoms or doctor's prescription. You are not the ones to decide on any investigations, on any treatment, what is recommended, what is not recommended. Everything should go only after a doctor's consultation. It is not for you as a general public or a lay person without any knowledge to decide on any medicines.
Last question, doctor, and then we will end up the session. Yeah, my husband is COVID positive and he is almost 12 days. Can he come out after 12 days and should we sanitize the whole house?
Okay, see, he cannot come out after 12 days. Like I told you, a 21-day isolation is good. Okay, a must is 15 days, definitely, nothing less than 15 days. And if you want to be like really on the safer side, then 21 days. Okay, and he is isolated. So once he comes out of the isolation, yes, it's always better to completely, thoroughly sanitize and clean that room and your entire house. Yeah, definitely, because right now he's isolated. The other places are not like he's not in touch with the other places. But once he comes out of that particular room can be sanitized thoroughly. Yes.
Thank you so much, doctor, for such an informative session and detailed explanation of all these questions. We hope, I think all these questions we have answered, and you all will follow all the precautions and do's and don'ts what doctor has advised. So thank you so much, doctor, and thank you all the participants. So stay safe and stay at home, and please follow all the precautions. Thank you so much, doctor.
Thank you.